So before mentioning his name, there was a man from Andalusia. A man from that time really wanted to see the great Imam of the Muslims, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal rahimahullah. So he travels from Andalusia, crosses the Mediterranean Sea, passes through North Africa, goes into the Hijaz towards Bilad al-Sham, and then goes into Baghdad where Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. Can you imagine the journey? Long journey. He used to be a strong person. He did not ride an animal. He used to be on foot. And he was a young man, 20 years old at that time. Subhanallah. So he goes, and then he enters Baghdad and he hears the story that Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal is under arrest. He's in prison. And he was very, very saddened. So he stays in a hotel, but then he wanted to spend some time in the masjid. Perhaps he can find some learned people there and learn from the Medina in Baghdad. Then he comes to this masjid and he hears a man teaching. And he was amazed by this man. And he understands and recognizes that this man is no ordinary man who's giving the lecture and teaching the people. So he asked this man on his right, who is this guy speaking? He said, Yahya ibn Ma'in, rahimahullah, another great name in Islam. And then he started asking him questions. This man asking Yahya ibn Ma'in questions. And at the end of this questioning, he says, what's your view on Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal? And he says, you're talking to me about Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal? Ahmad ibn Hanbal is the Imam of the Muslim Ummah. The biggest Muslim scholar at that time was none other than Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. And then eventually the word goes out that Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal is now under house arrest. So he can't leave his home and teach in the masajid. So this man now goes to Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, knocks on his door, and he says, Ya Abu Abdullah, that's his nickname, I'm a man from far away. And then Imam Ahmad says, from Africa. He says, beyond that, Andalusia, across the Mediterranean. And then he says, after finding out he's from Andalusia, and he says, you are worthy of being a student of knowledge, but I can't teach. You can see my condition, my situation is I'm restricted, I can't teach. But then this man suggests something. He says, I'm a stranger in the town, no one knows me. So why don't I come to you every day dressed as a beggar? I place a ragged clothing on me and I go out knocking door to door, and I come to your door and you teach me hadith. And he would do this. Lillah, fi sabilillah, fi sabilillah. He will go, lillah, lillah. Then he'll knock on the door of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. He will enter and people would think he's just a homeless person going to get some food. And he will leave. That continued until he memorized 300 hadith. And I'm going to mention his name now. This man is none other than Baqiyy ibn Makhlad, Shaykh Baqiyy ibn Makhlad, who wrote his own Musnad. He was a huge scholar. If you look into his story, I can't give you too much of it now. If you look into his life, he was a hugely influential figure in Islamic history, subhanallah. Memorized thousands of hadith. So when he fell ill, Imam Ahmad asked his students, where is this guy? And before that, when Imam Ahmad, his situation changed because the ruler at that time was more favorable towards Imam Ahmad. Then Imam Ahmad is now free and able to speak like a legend in the masajid. He calls Baqiyy ibn Makhlad, come and sit next to me. You are deserving to be called Talib al-Ilm, the true seeker of knowledge. SubhanAllah, look at the travels and look at the troubles and struggles he went through. He even degraded himself by becoming a beggar to learn. Man tawada'a lillahi rafa'ahu Allah. Allah's Messenger ﷺ said, whoever lowers himself before Allah, Allah raises him. He lowered himself so that Allah raised him. 1440 years and we're still remembering these guys, subhanAllah. So he falls ill, and the place he's staying at, suddenly hears a Shaykh. Thousands of people come with Imam Ahmad just to meet him and then making dua for him, subhanAllah. And then his the guy who is renting the place to him, he was so happy that his lodger is a person who is a student of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. So he gave him free of charge and many other benefits and other things. A lady comes to him and says, Ya Shaykh, my son is imprisoned in the Roman lands. Please make dua for him. I'm losing my mind. And we know the relationship between mother and a son. He just lowers his head and moves his lips. She can tell, people can tell he's making dua. And then she goes. Then she returns with her son. And then the story is that the son, he was captured, and when he was under the shackles, his shackles broke. And then the guards were saying, why did you break the shackles? He said, I didn't, it just happened. So they got firmer shackles to shackle him, and that too broke. And he repeated a few times. And then the priest came into the Roman prisons and to inquire what was going on. Then he asked this guy, do you have a mother? He said, yes. Because we understand the relationship between a mother and a son, you should be set free because it's the supplication. So they understand, the Christians understand the power of dua. The Christians understand the power of dua. What does Allah teach us? Surah Al-Ghafir, Udu'uni astajib lakum. Call me and I'll most certainly I will respond to your call. We should not belittle dua, brothers. Every step of our life we should remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the dua of the prisoners is what we're alluding to. With these scholars we find from the Salaf, not only were they imprisoned, they were the first and foremost to be of those who helped those who were needy, those who were poor, those who were wronged and oppressed. I will end with one thing, with the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he says, ما من عبد مسلم يدعو لأخيه بظهر الغيب إلا قال الملك ولك بمثل أو كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم. What a beautiful, beautiful hadith. Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, no servant, Muslim servant of Allah, making dua for his brother behind his back, except that an angel will be appointed for that person and say, and to you be the same. Allahu Akbar. You and I know our dua is not always guaranteed, but the dua of the angel, the malaik, is guaranteed. So when you make dua for your brother, know that the angel is making dua for you. So make dua for the ummah. This is what I want to finish with. Make dua for the ummah in Bilad al-Sham. Make dua for the countless of our brothers and sisters in prisons, in the dungeons, all over the Muslim world. Make dua for our mothers and our sisters who have been violated, especially those who are oppressed. This is the minimum we should do.